About a month ago, I signed into my credit card portal to settle my monthly bill. Right away, before I could proceed, a notification popped up. Refresh your yearly earnings to allow us to assist you more effectively. It featured a simple form with my outdated salary already filled in, plus a spot to input the latest figure. Assist me more effectively, they claimed. I dismissed the window without making any changes, since I fully understand their true motives, and it has zero to do with improving my experience. What many folks overlook is this: by disclosing your earnings to a bank, you're essentially arming them with powerful intel. You're supplying information they'll leverage to shape choices about your money matters, choices that favor their bottom line, not yours. Each occasion you revise that earnings entry, the system's algorithms kick into gear. Computations fire up. Your customer profile shifts in hidden ways that you won't spot, but you'll definitely sense the effects. Financial institutions have normalized sharing salary details as just part of the deal, something you should expect, perhaps even must supply. They weave income queries into sign-up forms as casually as requesting your contact info. They dispatch those polite refresh prompts masked as helpful support. They normalize the entire routine so thoroughly that hardly anyone pauses to wonder, what's the real purpose behind seeking this figure? And what unfolds once they obtain it? Grasping those truths could transform your dealings with banks going forward. I'll kick things off with a fact that's bound to annoy you. In most cases, banks aren't obligated to request your income. No legislation demands that card issuers track your wages. No rules insist that your financial provider keep current salary records. They inquire simply because they're curious, and that curiosity translates to boosting their revenues at your expense. This difference is crucial. If it's a legal obligation, compliance is non-negotiable. If it's merely a query, you've got options. Banks intentionally muddy these waters, as savvy clients tend to act in ways that dent their earnings. Recall your most recent credit card sign-up. Odds are it solicited your annual pay. You likely supplied it on autopilot. Why not? It comes across as typical data. It's what everybody requests, but unbeknownst to you, the instant you hit submit, the bank's software slotted you into a category. Your salary turned into a key metric in a dossier dictating your treatment. This influence is far beyond mere approval. It sways your applicable rates, assigned spending cap, available promotions, and the intensity of pitches for extras. I'll dissect these elements next, as the inner workings are both intriguing and a bit unsettling. Assigning credit caps stands out as the clearest application of salary figures. Lenders rely on your reported pay to gauge how much borrowing power to grant. Greater earnings usually yield bigger allowances. At first glance, that logic holds. An individual pulling in $150,000 could, in theory, manage larger obligations than one at $50,000. Yet the catch is this: expanded limits don't always serve you well. They encourage greater outlays. They foster debt buildup and amplify potential long-term interest costs. Lenders recognize that those with loftier caps often maintain heftier outstanding sums. A $30,000 ceiling isn't a perk for your achievements. It's extra leash, since folks with longer leashes frequently end up paying dearly in fees. Setting interest rates is where salary info turns into a tool for subtler manipulations that fly under most radars. You might figure elevated pay equates to reduced rates, given that top earners pose less default risk, correct? Truth is, it's far more nuanced. Institutions blend income with various inputs to assess not only hazard, but also your tolerance for costs. A $200,000 earner may skip rate shopping. A well-off person might overlook minor rate hikes. The software accounts for these behaviors and tweaks settings in response. Research indicates that wealthy clients occasionally land inferior deals because providers anticipate they'll skip haggling or jumping ship. Your strong salary signals you're ripe for steeper charges without risking defection. Insiders dub this quote, two pricing. The greater your means, the steeper the fees, not due to elevated risk, but because it's feasible to impose them. Ongoing promotions and cross-selling mark the stealthiest manner in which banks exploit income details to your detriment. As soon as you share it, you're tagged for bespoke solicitations. Top income individuals face relentless promotions for elite cards carrying hefty yearly charges. Banks exploit income details through relentless marketing and upselling tactics. As soon as your earnings come to light, they slot you into categories for tailored promotions. Folks with higher salaries face intense pushes for elite credit cards carrying hefty yearly charges. Individuals encounter nonstop pitches for personal financing, wealth building options, and bundled insurance deals. Each time you sign in, it's like navigating a gauntlet of sales prompts fine tuned to your earnings level. Financial institutions recognize that a person making $180,000 stands a better chance of accepting a card with a $550 annual fee compared to one pulling in $60,000. Moreover, they understand that those with substantial incomes tend to deal with more intricate finances, opening doors for extra service sales. That earnings info isn't merely archived somewhere, it's dynamically deployed to pry cash from your pockets. For those with modest incomes, the issue manifests differently. They might dodge the luxury pitches, but get hit with exploitative alternatives. Promotions for balance transfers riddled with concealed costs. High interest personal loans, credit line boosts crafted to encourage excessive spending. The precision stems from the accuracy of the underlying data. Yet there's a deeper worry that escapes most people's notice. Earnings records endure. Once you share your income with a credit issuer during an application, it doesn't vanish post approval. It lingers in your profile, it shapes unseen choices, it circulates to affiliates and collaborators under the cover of privacy terms that are legal but surprise most users. The salary you input 5 years back could still sway your current handling. It might play into calls on hiking your rates, slashing your credit ceiling, or shuttering your account amid market jitters. Financial entities remember everything. Your data boasts an exceptionally long lifespan. Now I'll tackle the query likely on your mind. Under what circumstances must you reveal your income, and when can you skip it? Home loan applications demand income proof. Federal regulations enforce this. Lenders have to validate repayment capacity per qualified mortgage guidelines. Expect to submit pay stubs, tax filings, and job confirmations. No shortcuts exist, nor should there be. Skirting income checks for mortgages fueled the 2008 meltdown. Car financing usually calls for income reporting, although check levels differ. Certain providers insist on thorough checks. Others take your word. It hinges on the creditor and borrowing size. When applying for credit cards, income is requested, but here's a key fact many overlook. Issuers rarely bother confirming what you claim. They lack access to your taxes sans consent. They can't peek at your stubs. Everything rides on your self-report. This setup breeds a curious tension. Lenders crave that data so much they inquire, yet not enough to double-check it. What does that reveal about its purpose? Those recurring prompts to refresh your income in your online dashboard? Totally elective. No rule forces you to comply. The institution desires it. It's not essential. Such alerts mimic urgency, but remain purely optional. Let me stress this unequivocally. I'm not advising you to falsify your earnings. Submitting bogus details on a credit form counts as fraud. It's unlawful. It's flat out unethical. Steer clear. Instead, I'm urging a calculated approach to sharing or withholding details that affect your fiscal future. There's a vast gap between fabrication and opting out of extras. If a lender seeks an income refresh during your ongoing ties, just dismiss the notice. Skip filling the spot if allowed. Refuse to supply non mandated info. This isn't trickery, it's safeguarding your privacy. Reflect on the imbalance in the dynamic. Institutions hoard vast troves about you, transaction habits, repayment records, indebtedness, and money behaviors. They deploy advanced models to dissect this and squeeze peak profits from the bond. You, however, grasp little of their behind the scenes mechanics. Their models stay hidden, their groupings are opaque. The ways your data tweaks your offers elude you. Holding back extra details just chips away at that lopsidedness a bit. It levels the ground ever so slightly. They can still track your actions. They retain plenty on you. They simply miss out on that prized figure. To illustrate in real terms, picture two clients with matching credit histories, spending routines, and payment tracks. One consistently provides income updates as asked. Theirs rose from $70,000 to $95,000 across 3 years. The second hasn't touched it since the initial sign up. The former now draws fierce campaigns for upscale offerings. Their credit limit got bumped up twice on its own. The system is priming them for costlier options, spotting the upward trend in earnings and untapped potential. Meanwhile, the other customer sticks with routine promotions. Their limit stays put, keeping them off the bank's intense watch because the algorithm lacks solid details to analyze. So, who's getting the better deal? It all hinges on your goals. Craving top tier credit availability and okay with pushy pitches? Then keep your details current. Prefer a hands off setup with steady conditions? Stick to bare bones info. But there's a deeper layer here worth exploring. How you report earnings influences a bank's handling of you in tough financial spots. During economic dips, lenders scan their books and decide who stays and who goes. They trim limits, shut down accounts, or jack up rates. Algorithms drive these moves, and income figures factor into each call. Someone with a hefty reported salary might keep their limit intact, as the model forecasts solid ongoing payments. On the flip side, that same strong income could flag them for sharp rate hikes, figuring they can handle steeper costs. Folks with modest earnings might face early cuts to curb the bank's risk. The system views them as riskier in shaky periods, no matter their real track record on bills. The sole escape from these automated categorizations: starve the machine of info. The fewer income details the lender has, the more it leans on your real habits. Things like payment timeliness, spending ratios, and account age take center stage when earnings data is missing or old. Observed patterns pack more punch than self reported numbers anyway. Stick to prompt payments, keep usage light, and hold on to accounts long term. Those traits define you over any figure you punch into a box, turning your habits into your true scorecard. Let me tell you about a buddy of mine. As a freelancer, her pay swung wildly: $8,000 some months, $15,000 others, based on gigs. Applying for a card, she played it safe, basing it on her leanest periods. 2 years on, a limit boost prompted an income refresh. She plugged in her now much bigger haul. 3 months later, loan pitches flooded in nonstop. Her card deals pivoted to elite versions with fat fees. Her inbox overflowed with debt-swelling balance transfers. She'd been recategorized. What was once a calm bank tie turned into a sales blitz. She swore off updates from then on. Pop-ups slammed shut on site. In roughly 6 months, things settled back to baseline as the system ran dry on new inputs and her status faded to standard. This highlights a key truth in how banks handle data. They thrive on the latest intel. Outdated stuff loses its edge for predictions. A salary from 3 years back won't spark the same reactions as a fresh one. Lenders get this, so they hound you for refreshes. Each update you give restarts their targeting cycle. The models perk up and zero in anew. That said, there are smart times to share your income bump. Need a bigger limit with genuinely higher pay? It bolsters your request. Eyeing a fresh loan where a stronger figure ups your shot? Revealing it works for you. The trick is purpose. Share when it helps you most. Skip it when the gain tilts toward the bank. Choose deliberately, not just by autofilling every prompt. Think about how banks tally your long term worth to them. They project total profits across your whole history. Earnings feed straight into that math. Bigger numbers signal bigger value, greenlighting bolder sales and hold strategies. By holding back, you muddy their projections. That fuzziness often sparks milder handling, which usually favors you. Plus, we can't ignore the mental side of all this. We've been conditioned by banks to think we must share details whenever they're requested. Those demands come with a built in sense of power. The paperwork suggests obligations that aren't always there. Folks usually go along with it since pushing back seems uncomfortable or hazardous. Shattering that habit feels truly freeing. The initial occasion you dismiss an income refresh notice without filling it out, a twinge of worry might hit you. Have you messed up? Any fallout coming? Relax. There isn't. The bank will just ping you again after a quarter. You'll brush off that one as well. Zero repercussions. Everything with your accounts keeps running smoothly. Your credit rating stays the same. All that's missing is the updated info they were after. Gradually, you'll see that so much of banking is just a show meant to encourage obedience. The official looking documents, the pressing appeals, the hints of necessity, it's all engineered to gather as much customer info as possible from people unaware of their options. Options exist for you. They've always been there. The bank merely hoped you'd stay in the dark. Allow me to offer concrete tips for handling income sharing from here on. When applying for a fresh credit card, include income details since they're pretty much mandatory for getting approved. That said, be strategic in what you disclose. With fluctuating earnings, skip the peak period. If your pay comes from various streams, you aren't obligated to list everyone. Stick to truthful reporting in those bounds, but avoid offering extras. On prompts to update income for current accounts, just dismiss them unless you need verification for a specific goal. Skipping these carries no downside. They'll fade away and pop up later. You can keep ignoring them forever. For bids to raise your credit limit, first ask if you even desire more room. If yes, sharing recent income could be key. If your existing limit suits you fine, turn it down instead of handing over data to unlock an unwanted boost. In loan pursuits, needing income checks, supply only the essentials. They want tax docs? Hand them over. But if they push for extras past legal needs, question the reason first. When a bank rep phones to gather updates, keep in mind calls are crafted for urgency and push. You can politely refuse. Tell them you're not keen on sharing. The conversation wraps up. Your accounts stay active. This core idea applies wider than finance. Any organization seeking your info does so to advance their agenda, not enhance yours. They might pitch it as better service, smoother interactions, or better precision. Such spins hide the real aim, sharper ways to pull value from your ties with them. Limiting data shared is a smart approach for dealing with all sorts of organizations. Give only the must-haves. Pass on the rest. Recognize that each detail you provide gets processed, scrutinized, and turned into revenue in unseen, unendorsed manners. Banks aren't villains. They deliver essential tools. Credit, borrowing, and savings options fuel involvement in the economy, aiding society at large. Yet they're also businesses chasing maximum gains, viewing client info as something to leverage. Grasping this setup calls for straightforward insight, not bitterness. It demands seeing the true mechanics of the partnership. Banks crave your data to boost earnings off you. You get to decide the extent of sharing, prioritizing your needs over theirs. When the next income nudge shows up, you'll grasp the full picture. It's fuel for their systems to fine-tune profits, not your satisfaction. Shut it down. Hold on to your details. Let your track record of on time payments and solid habits do the talking. That's the intel that counts. And they can't snag it with a mere polite query.